Today is 10/27/2020. So I'll tell you a story on the drive then. So I was about probably 10-12 years old, and I had a buddy. He's a little bit older than me, so he was probably 14-15. So he had this idea that we would go snake hunting. Let me pronounce that slower: snake hunting. So I was like, sure, you know, why not? You kids, you ain't got nothing else going on. So if you haven't known by now, I'm from Virginia, the Appalachian Mountain area. So we have hills. It ain't nothing to walk up a hill or live on a hillside. My backyard was like that when I mowed it growing up, so had to mow it in cleats. It was so steep. But anyways, so we decided to go snake hunting, and we went up on this hill, and we were like turning over rocks and logs and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, I'm glad. I don't want to ruin the story, but I'm glad we didn't see any snakes, because I don't know what I would have done if I would have seen one. I sure would have picked it up. I'm terrified of snakes. So anyways, now that you know how the story ends, it's going to have a little plot twist to it. So we were up on this hill, like I said, rolling over logs and rocks and stuff like that. So he comes up on this big rock, and he tried to roll it over, and I mean, it was pretty large, bigger than my tank bag, or about as round as that. So maybe a little bit smaller than my gas tank, just to kind of get an idea on the size of this monster. So we finally pushed it over, and luckily for me, there was nothing under it. All right, no big deal. So we go on, kind of looking under other logs and rocks and stuff like that. And a few seconds later, probably about 5-10 seconds later, we heard this rock still kind of tumbling, breaking branches and rolling over leaves and stuff like that. I looked at him, he looked at me, kind of like, ugh, that's probably not a good idea. So no kidding, it wasn't 20 seconds later, this rock had built up so much speed coming off that mountain. It was unbelievable. We heard it just tumbling, crashing, hitting trees like crazy. So at that point, we knew we were in trouble. I looked at him, he looked at me, and we were like, oh crap. So all of a sudden we heard this big crash. This rock had rolled down the hill at such a speed, it had rolled through a trailer and hit a recliner with a guy sitting in it and stopped it. So it busted the whole wall through the trailer. So when we heard that crash, we didn't know exactly what had happened. So we started to run, and then another guy, he was friends with us, he goes, I see you, and he called out our names. So we're like, oh crap. Now his dad was a sheriff, to beat it all, because I'm gonna go tell my dad. So we all just like scatter like bees in a hive. So I run home, my buddy runs home. So it's probably about 30 minutes later, Cop pulls up, and I was like, oh crap, this is not good. So he ends up talking to my mom, and I got in trouble. And luckily my great uncle worked on houses, so he went and repaired this guy's trailer and done all the work, so it didn't really cost us that much. But it was all because we were snake hunting and rolled that rock out a hill, and it took off so fast. It was so big, it was crazy. Needless to say, I got in a little bit of trouble over that, but hey, you live and you learn. And what I learned is I'm not ever going to go snake hunting again for a couple reasons. So that was a story. So about, oh gosh, well, when I lived in Florida, I was older at this time, living on my own. So I had a buddy I was doing some yard work with, and he's like, it's Jacksonville, July, the sun is so hot, so humid, like you would rather be anywhere else but outside weed eating, doing yard work in Florida in July, I'm telling you. So he's like, it's about 1 o'clock. He goes, oh, what? I gotta take a break. I gotta go feed my snake. I was like, oh no, not again. Here we go with another snake. So he's like, come in and feed him with me. I was like, no, I'm good. I'd rather stay out here and, you know, dig some ditches or whatever than go in and deal with another snake. So he's like, nah, really, I need some help. I was like, dang it, here I go. He talked into it. So I go in. He's got an 8-foot albino boa constrictor in a tank. I'm thinking that tank is not nearly big enough for that snake, but I guess he knew what he was doing. So he gets it out. He goes, here, you want to hold it? I was like, no, I'm good. He pretty well throws it over my shoulder. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? I might as well flow with it, because if I face my fears and it's not as scary as what I thought, then hey, I'm over snakes, right? No big deal, not scared. So I held it the whole time. I'm thinking, if this snake gets out of control, I'll just tell it to stop. Wrong. I guess that's one thing about snakes that kills me, is they can't listen, they can't hear you. Unlike a dog or a cat or another animal you can scare off, snakes, you can't do that. So I held it, and I don't know if you've ever held a snake before. I mean, it was huge, and it just, when you hold it, it just feels like, if you ever bought like those long hamburger meat things from Walmart, they're like $15 a log. It kind of feels like those logs when you hold it. So this is kind of give you an idea, but it's like beans. I don't know. It's weird. So he's like, all right, well, I gotta feed it. So he pulls a mouse out, and he sits the mouse on the floor. About the time he reaches for the snake, for me, because I knew I didn't want to be between a snake and its food. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, take it. And then as soon as that snake got into his arms, I guess it smelt that mouse, and I mean, it pretty well engulfed that mouse. Like, it was so fast, it was crazy. After that, I'm like, dude, I'm out. I went back outside, and honestly, they lied to you when they said face your fears, you'll get over. I think I'm more terrified of snakes now than what I was before I even like tried that little escapade. So at this point, I'm done with snakes. I'm not going around them. Don't have any pets. So don't bother to ask me to help you feed your snake. Not going to. So I'll say see you bye on that one.